Ciao.
On the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round.
No, it's going to be like, oh, good point. You know?
Accept it
That's
in
right.
the spirit it was given. Well,
Yeah.
no. It's still kind of bad. Tom Merritt's here with us, everybody. Tom Merritt is here. We're just basking in Ted Lasso now.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. It's a great...
It's wonderful.
Seriously. Anyway, time to play our game. So lots of changes since the last time you were here. We talked earlier this week about the fact that I'm doing the live thing on YouTube. What you don't know is I actually did this show for about 5 weeks also on YouTube. Boy, did I hate that. I didn't hate it. I mean, it was okay. I enjoyed, like, seeing people face to face, and I enjoyed, learning a little bit about video editing, but I couldn't just relax into my conversation with you. Well, not you. I couldn't relax.
Thinking about all these other things.
Because I was thinking about, there was the time that I accidentally didn't record the whole hour when I was on with Dave Hamilton. So that was great. And it was like, all this time that I've been worrying, it turns out I wasn't worrying enough. Right. It was wonderful. And many, many thanks to Mike Rose, Allison Sheridan, Dave Hamilton. I'm forgetting the other two people who did it, who did the video thing with me, Adam Christensen, and now I'm forgetting one. And so I feel even worse.
Like the Oscars.
That I was able to get that last one. Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, so this was a video show for a bit. It is no longer a video show. Last time you were on, we were doing album sides. But then I worked my way back around to somebody who had already done an album side. And I was like, well, I need to come up with something else. And thus was born Wheel of Stuff.
Wheel of Stuff.
Exactly. Inspired not by Wheel of Fortune, but by Wheel of Fish from the Weird Al Yankovic movie VHF.
Oh,
because I know, and strictly because people would yell, Wheel of Fish. You just feel like you're missing a thing there. So what I did was I went to the App Store. And by the way, I have never said what the name of this app is. And I'm going to now. Because what I said was, I just went to the App Store and I found the Decision Maker app. These guys have been updating this app consistently, bringing in tons of features that they say people keep saying to them, hey, we want this, we want this. And I keep not saying who they are. And now I can't find my App Store thing because I moved everything around once I got iOS 14. This is the worst. This is the best. Hey, Tom, talk about something that you like for a second while I find this.
So more on Ted Lasso. No,
no, not moron. He's not a moron. You're taking the wrong message. Yes.
You think he's going to be a moron.
But he's not.
But he's not.
He's not a moron.
And nobody is. And nobody's evil. That was the other thing we didn't talk about. Like the people you think are going to be paper thin.
That's
evil,
true. That's true.
Yes. Giles from Buffy.
Yeah, that's
pretty close to paper thin.
He's pretty terrible,
evil, I suppose. But,
he's great in that. He's great in that role, but I hate it because I love Giles so much, and for him to turn up and
Rebecca, you expect is going to be, a cartoon character villain, and she's way, way deeper than that.
Daily Decision Wheel is the name of this app. Daily Decision Wheel.
Decision Wheel.
Exactly. And the thing is, I was like, just buy a Decision Maker app. Who cares? And then you can play the at-home version. I'm going to say buy Daily Decision Wheel. It's $1.99, I think. It's got a bunch of different customizations that you can do, and they keep going back in and making the app, I assume, better because I have the one use case for it, and so I use it for that one use case. But if you decide you need a Decision Maker app, Daily Decision Wheel is the one to find. And so what I did, Tom, was I have filled the Decision Maker app, the Daily Decision Wheel, with 18 different options. I spin the wheel, I throw it to you, and we have a bit of a conversation. Are you ready to play our game?
I am. I'm very excited.
I'm glad you're very excited. That's the reaction I'm always hoping for, because I'll tell you what happens. Usually people say, oh, I'm really nervous. It's not like there's a right and wrong answer. Well, I mean, there is one that there is a right and wrong answer for.
Okay. But now I'm nervous about that one.
Well, don't worry.
I won't know when it's coming.
That's true. Tell me about the worst job you've ever had.
The worst job I've ever had. Luckily, I haven't had too many horrible jobs, but the worst job I ever had was in a call center. I was
not the first time that answer has come up on the show.
Yeah, it seems like it's an obvious one. I was working for Gallup, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And so I wasn't selling anything, so that made me feel better. But I was still annoying people. And oh, you know what? That just reminded me of something I'd forgotten all about. You know what? I'm going to change my answer. It wasn't the Gallup job. I spent one day at a job that was marketing, selling fitness stuff.
Oof.
And their system, Gallup had this whole like thing where we never saw the phone numbers and it was automatically dialed. So it would be a random number, which meant sometimes you took a while to get through because it would pick numbers that were disconnected, et cetera, because it was totally picking them at random.
Yeah.
This company that I spent one day at had you open the phone book.
Oh.
And just back when phone books were big, had everybody's number in them, and just circle a number and call it.
That is nothing like a qualified lead.
No.
That's just...
And I hated it.
Sure.
I absolutely hated it. I hated it so much I'd forgotten about it till this very moment. Because this was, I think, 1988 when I had this one-day job. I never got paid for it because I walked out and I never went back.
Sure.
And the biggest moment of the day that convinced me it was not for me was when I called someone and said, hey, can I talk to you about Liberty Gibbet Exercise Company? And they said, who are you calling for? I was like, oh, Henry. And they said, Henry's dead. Now, knowing what I know now, Henry probably wasn't dead. They probably just said that to telemarketers.
Yeah, that was probably Henry you were talking to.
But at the time, an 18-year-old was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I hung up and I was like, yeah, I'm not built for this. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I did telemarketing for 4 days, and it was even for like a responsible, like, yes, it's going to be this thing, but a portion of it goes to, a good cause. And 4 days. I think I also didn't get paid, but because it was straight commission. Mm-hmm. And I made no money. Oh, wow. This is amazing. Because this is the one that there was a wrong answer to.
Oh, you shouldn't have told me, but all right.
Wars or Trek?
Wars or Trek?
Trek. Wars or Trek? Star Wars or Star Trek? There really is no right answer to this question.
I was really overthinking this. I was like, wars are bad, but track and field is hard.
Track can be difficult, right? Plus, who's got access to a
Star
track?
Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars or Star Trek? Yeah.
That's a very difficult one for me because I do love them both.
As do I.
And I have loved them both since a very young age. Star Trek was the thing I watched with my dad on Sunday mornings on reruns because he loved the Navy part of it. So it was, a father-son bonding thing. Star Wars, I have very fond memories of seeing as a 6-year-old, which I don't remember much else about, but I saw it and I got the toys for Christmas and was super excited.
Yeah. Yeah, here's the thing. I hate those things on like Twitter where they're like, you have to lose one of these bands, right? Or you can only have one of these bands from now on. I have become that Twitter experience. I understand your love for both of them. I share it. But we're going to Earth 2. And for whatever reason, either George Lucas or Gene Roddenberry did not make it to Earth 2. Which I think is funny because I want to say that Gene Roddenberry actually had a show called Earth 2. So
yeah, he did. Yeah. That's an interesting way to think about it. Like you're going to a new Earth. One of them has George Lucas, the other has Roddenberry, but neither one of them have both. Mm-hmm. Which Earth do you go to? Yeah. Because then it's not you don't like the other. It's like if you had to live without one, which one could you bear to live without? I think I would go to Earth 2 with Gene Roddenberry.
Interesting. Can I ask why? I'm not arguing with you.
Because there's a larger canon of work.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So not necessarily the message that it's portraying, but just the fact that you got more of it.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the reasons I like Trek is because of the message, but I don't know that that's the deciding factor. I think it's that there's room to explore in Trek. Now, all the Star Wars readers out there are going to tell me that I'm missing out. There's a huge world in Star Wars lore as well, which is true. But I do like the fact that I've got lots of television. I'm prioritizing television personally here. Okay. That I can watch as well as movies, lots of video stuff, lots of very well thought out supporting material. I mean, I'm sorry. I know the Millennium Falcon has a manual, but it's not nearly as good as the Enterprise one. So yeah, I like the detail It's not even just the number of episodes or anything. The detail of the Star Trek universe appeals to me.
Yeah, I think it was an accident at first, but there's a lot more world building that goes on with Star Trek, me. Star Wars, it's like, oh, we need a sun planet. Oh, well, luckily we have one. We do? Well, give me 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I feel horrible that you've put me in this position, because even with all of the wonderful caveats about why I have to pick this from now on, anybody who hears this episode like, oh, Merritt, he likes Trek better than Wars.
Yeah. Well, I feel terrible that you feel terrible that I put you in this position, but I feel okay.
When I say terrible, I mean, like, I'll probably forget about it. Like, well, don't worry too much about it.
I'm glad. Yeah. Next time you're on, I'll be like, you're over the Star Wars, Star Trek thing. And you'd be like, what?
I'll be like, no, I'll just forget I'll be like, Star Wars, definitely Star Wars is much better.
Absolutely.
I'll forget I even answered.
Well, of course, by the time you're on next, the new Christmas toys will have come out for 2020.
Right.
So you'll be like, wow, did you see the thing with the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
I got 5 of them. All right, hold on.
Star Wars always had the better toys. No doubt about that.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing, though, and I think people have heard me do this joke before. I mean, Star Wars is made for kids. Star Wars is made for fun stuff. I'm not saying there's nothing there for adults, but every now and then you'll have a Star Trek person, begrudge the fact that, why don't we get an amusement park? Here's what my friends and I, back when I was doing mission log stuff, came up with for a Star Trek amusement park. Here's how it goes. You ready?
Yep.
You get in line for a ride. A Klingon cuts in front of you. You spend the 2 hours in line discussing with the Klingon why what he did was wrong. In the end, you prevail, and that's the ride.
Yes,
that's the whole thing.
It's
right
not
there.
too far off from the Las Vegas Hilton, right? Like,
it's true. Yeah,
it's pretty close.
Out of my way, human. Hey, that's not nice. You're right. I apologize. Here are your chips. Last one. My Hero, real, not fiction. We have there are 2. My Hero turns up twice on the wheel. Once as a fictional character, once as a real life person. If Tom Merritt talks about his real life hero, Tom Merritt talks about.
I really don't like these hero questions because I always blank. And then later I think of someone, I'm like, oh, I should have said that person, which implies that I don't think about this very often. I have lots of different heroes in my life, but the one that's jumping into mind right now, so it's the one I'll pick at the moment, is my grandmother. My grandmother, Roxy Wheatley, nay Roxy Merritt, nay Roxy Edwards. She had remarried after my grandpa died by the time I got to know her. And she was the person I want to most be like morally. And I don't mean she was a fine, upstanding, church-going woman, which she was, but so was everybody where I grew up. I mean that she knew how to treat people. And she was anti-racist and taught me to be anti-racist in a way that wasn't based on race. It was based on human dignity. And, she would catch people, talking down to someone and like, why are you talking down to them? And then, well, cause he's black or because he's poor or whatever. And she would be like, well, whose fault is that? And I don't know. She just had a way of dealing with these things that would make kids who are never going to obey anyone mind her. And she just had a joy of life until the day she died in her late 80s. I still remember her at like 80 years old, driving around in her 15-year-old gray Hornet, backing up out of a parking place going, is there anyone back there? Crash. Oh, nope, I was wrong. Good. Just loved her to death. I wish I was more like her. And in the few ways that I am very grateful.